All right, guys, so this week's lesson is all about fractions. And first we're focusing on equal fractions. So this is lesson 13, and we're going to write equivalent fractions. Now, I'm not doing this video with you guys, so if you need to stop and pause at any time to catch up, feel free to do so, okay? Normally I do these videos with you in class, so I know when you are ready to move on. So feel free to pause at any time to catch up. Okay, so there's a couple things we are going to talk about with fractions. So first, let's write a fraction. I'm going to write 1/3, okay? So this means that there are 3 whole pieces and 1 part of it is shaded in. So this is the part. So sometimes you've heard teachers say something like part over whole. So if I was going to draw 1/3, I would draw a shape. We're going to split it into 3 whole parts. So 1, 2, 3, and try your best to make them equal. And one of them would be shaded in. Now, it doesn't matter if it's this side here or this middle part that you shaded in or this side. It just needs to make sure that 1 part out of the 3 holes are shaded in. Okay? Another part about these fractions, again, I'll write it right here. I'm going to write n. That stands for numerator. D stands for denominator. So numerator and denominator. So here's some vocabulary. Numerator means the top number in a fraction. It tells the number of parts. Okay, that's the numerator. And then the denominator, I always remember D for denominator as like down, right? It's the number that's down. This is the new number that's up. So D down, that's called our denominator. So here's your vocabulary. Denominator, just making sure I have that spelled correctly. And that means it's the bottom number in a fraction. It also is the number of equal parts in the whole. So our example is that there are 3 equal parts of the whole and 1 part of that is shaded in. Okay? Again, pause at any time if you need to catch up. Okay, so now we're going to talk about equal fractions. Equal fractions. Equal fractions is when 2 or more fractions have the same amount of the whole. So I'll show you what I mean. I'll go back to let's write our vocab word. 2 or more fractions that name the same amount of a whole. It's always easier to figure this out or understand when we draw an example. So I'll go back to my 1/3. Again, the 1 is my numerator. D standing for down, 3 is my denominator. This means that I'm going to draw 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now, an equal fraction, I could easily turn 1/3 into 2/6 by cutting this like that. Okay? So 1/3 is the same as 2/6. I'll draw up here. So we'll have this in thirds. So I'll shade in 1/3 here, and I'll shade in 2/6 here. Okay? So I'm going to put an equal sign down here. It kind of looks like a face now. But 1/3 is equal to 2/6. Let me show you another way on how to understand that. 1/3 is equal to 2/6. Now this requires us to think about our multiplication. How do we get from 3 to 6? What do we multiply by? It's going to be 3 times 2 gets us 6, right? So whatever you do to the bottom, you gotta do to the top. So we multiply this by 2, so we're gonna multiply this by 2, okay, to get an equal fraction. So whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom. Let's do another example here. Let's say I had 3/4, right? And I wanted to figure out how many 8ths that would be. Same thing. How do I go from 4 to 8? I'm going to multiply by 2. And then I know that whatever I do to the bottom, I got to do to the top. So I'm going to multiply 3 by 2, and I'll get 6. So I know that 3/4 is equal to 6/8. Okay?